My sister said I should give her one of my unborn twins, then my parents took her side. Hi, I'm Evan Brooks. I'm 31, and the day my sister tried to take one of my unborn twins was the day my family finally stopped pretending everything was normal. I work as an emergency dispatcher, which means chaos is kind of my baseline. Screaming callers, bad news, split-second decisions. What I wasn't prepared for was realizing that the most dangerous situation in my life wasn't coming from strangers. It was coming from my own blood. I grew up as the extra kid, the spare, the one you don't notice unless something needs fixing. My older sister, Naomi, was 34 when all of this started. Same parents, same house, totally different childhoods. Naomi was the star. I was the background noise. If Naomi brought home straight A's, my parents took her to a fancy steakhouse downtown. When I did the same, my mom said, "That's nice," without looking up from her phone. Naomi needed money for college books. Dad wired it the same day. I needed money for certification exams. Dad lectured me about budgeting. Naomi crashed her car freshman year. They bought her another one. I needed new tires? Figure it out, Evan. You're resourceful. And the thing is, you don't see how messed up that is when you're a kid. You just adapt. You learn to ask for less. You learn not to need praise. You tell yourself independence is a virtue when really it's just emotional neglect in a nicer jacket. I met my wife Lena when I was 26. She was 28, a respiratory therapist finishing night shifts that left her half asleep and brutally honest. She noticed things right away. At our wedding, small, casual, backyard ceremony, my parents spent most of the reception talking about Naomi's new job promotion. Lena squeezed my hand and whispered, "Is it always like this?" "Pretty much," I said. "That's not normal," she replied. I shrugged. I'd spent my whole life convincing myself it was. Naomi had married Victor 2 years before us. They tried for kids immediately. Year 1, nothing. Year 2, fertility treatments. Year 3, resentment. She started rewriting history. "You always had it easy, Evan. Mom and Dad never expected anything from you." Complete fiction, but she believed it. Then Lena got pregnant. We weren't trying. We were not trying. Life just happened. Positive test. Then another shock at the 12-week scan, twins. 1 boy, 1 girl. Due early April. We told my parents over Sunday dinner. My mom smiled with her mouth, not her eyes. "Twins?" she said. "That's a lot." My dad muttered congratulations while scrolling his phone. "Raising 2 babies at once is expensive," Mom added. "Exhausting. Are you sure you're ready?" "We'll manage," Lena said tightly. "Well," Mom continued, "Naomi is wonderful with kids. Maybe she can help." Couldn't even give us 5 minutes without making it about her. 3 days later, Naomi showed up at our apartment unannounced. She sat on our couch like she owned it and said, "I have a proposal." My stomach dropped. "You're having 2 babies," she said. "That's overwhelming for first-time parents. Victor and I have been trying for 5 years. What if one of the twins came to live with us?" Silence. "You'd still see them all the time," she added quickly. "Holidays, birthdays. You'd only have to handle 1 baby. I'd finally be a mom. Everyone wins." Lena stared at her. I felt like the room tilted. "You want us to give you one of our children?" I asked. "Not give," Naomi corrected. "Share. Co-parent. From birth." "No," Lena said instantly. Her voice was calm, which scared me more than if she'd yelled. Naomi's face hardened. "You're selfish. You don't need 2 babies. I deserve 1." That word, deserve, hung in the air like smoke. And that's when I knew this wasn't just grief. This was something much darker. That night, after Naomi stormed out, Lena looked at me and said, "This isn't over." She was right. It was just beginning. The call started the next morning. I was halfway through a shift when my phone lit up with my mother's name. I let it ring out. She called again. Then my father. Then Naomi. When I finally answered my mom, she didn't bother easing into it. "Evan, we need to talk about last night." "There's nothing to talk about," I said. "You embarrassed your sister. She's been through so much. She asked us to give her one of our kids. She asked for help," my mom snapped. "You're about to have twins. You have no idea how hard that is." "I'm aware," I said. "That's why they're our responsibility." My mom sighed like I was the unreasonable one. "She wouldn't take them away from you. You'd still be their father. Everyone would be happier. Everyone except my wife and my children." "I'm not discussing this again," I said and hung up. Lena listened to the voicemail my dad left later that afternoon while making dinner. You need to apologize to your mother, he said calmly. Naomi is fragile right now. You're being selfish. Lena looked at me over the cutting board. They're choosing her again. I nodded. I didn't even feel surprised anymore. Just tired. 2 days later, Naomi showed up again, this time at 6:40 a.m. Lena was getting ready for work when the doorbell rang. I checked the peephole. Naomi stood there holding a tiny yellow baby onesie. I opened the door, but kept the chain on. What do you want? I asked. I brought this for baby B, she said softly. Neutral color. Since you don't know the genders yet. We're not doing this, I said. Go home. She leaned closer to the crack in the door. I just want to be involved. I could come to doctor appointments. Help set up the nursery. You're not being kept away from anything, I said. There are no babies yet, and none of them are yours. Her eyes went cold. You're going to regret cutting me out, she said. I'm trying to help you. She left the onesie on the doormat. I didn't throw it away. I took a picture of it with the timestamp visible and put it in a folder on my phone. That folder would grow fast. That weekend, my mom came over uninvited. Lena was 14 weeks along and just starting to show. You look tired, my mom said, sitting down like she owned the place. Are you resting enough? I'm fine, Lena replied. You know, my mom continued, Naomi has so much free time. She could move in for a few months after the babies arrive. Help with night feedings. No, I said flatly. You're going to need help, she argued. Don't be stubborn. We'll figure it out ourselves, Lena said. My mom's lips tightened. Fine, but when you're overwhelmed, don't expect us to drop everything. She left like we were the ones threatening the family. After that, things escalated quickly. My supervisor pulled me aside at work one afternoon. Your parents called, he said. They were concerned, asking about your stress levels, whether you're handling things okay. My stomach sank. They think I'm unstable, I said. He frowned. What's really going on? My sister wants one of my unborn children, I said. He stared at me. That's not a thing people do. No, I agreed. It's not. That night, Lena found a Facebook comment under one of her pregnancy updates from an account named Emily Warren. Can't wait to meet baby B. Nursery already set up. Lena blocked the account. Another appeared the next day. Then another. Naomi started messaging Lena's friends, asking innocent questions. Due dates. Schedules. Where we lived. Lena's cousin sent us screenshots. That's when we called a lawyer. Her name was Martha Klein, and after reviewing our evidence, she said one sentence that made my chest go cold. This is no longer family drama. This is harassment. And it was only going to get worse. Martha didn't sugarcoat anything. What you're describing, she said, flipping through the printed screenshots, is a sustained pattern of fixation. Your sister isn't grieving anymore. She's planning. That word hit harder than anything else so far. Planning. Within a week, Martha sent a formal cease and desist letter to Naomi and my parents. Clear language. No contact. No showing up. No contacting employers. No accessing medical information. Any violation would move us straight toward a restraining order. My mom called me crying the same day it was delivered. How could you do this to us? She sobbed. We're family. You called my wife's job, I said. You tried to get her labeled unstable. We were worried. You crossed a line, I said. Stay away from us. I changed my number that afternoon. Lena changed hers too. For about 10 days, things were quiet. Then Naomi emailed me from a new address. I've spoken with a lawyer about shared custody options, she wrote. When you're ready to be reasonable, I'm here. Shared custody of my unborn children. Martha read it and said, Good. This helps us. That sentence alone told me how bad things were. At 20 weeks, we had our anatomy scan. 1 boy, 1 girl. Healthy. Perfect. We told no one the appointment time. Naomi was in the waiting room when we arrived. My heart dropped straight into my stomach. What are you doing here? I asked. We just wanted to see the babies, my mom said, like this was normal. The ultrasound tech called Lena's name. Naomi stood up to follow. Only parents allowed, the tech said. I'm the aunt, Naomi replied. Just us, I said firmly. As we walked away, I heard my mom arguing with the front desk about hospital policy. In the exam room, Lena whispered, How did they know? They'd called the clinic pretending to be her. After that, everything got password protected. 2 weeks later, someone tried to change Lena's emergency contact information, listing my mother as primary and Naomi as secondary. The receptionist caught it because the caller couldn't answer a verification question. That was the moment Lena broke down. If something happened to me, she whispered, they'd try to take the babies. Martha filed for a temporary restraining order the next day. When my parents found out, they filed their own petition for grandparents' rights for unborn children. Martha almost laughed when she saw it. This will get dismissed in under 10 minutes. But it shows intent. They're trying to establish legal control before birth. Both hearings were scheduled on the same day. The grandparents' rights case went exactly as predicted. The judge glanced at the paperwork. You're seeking visitation rights for unborn minors? Yes, Your Honor, their lawyer said. There is no existing relationship, the judge replied. Petition dismissed. My parents didn't even look at me as they left. Our restraining order hearing was longer. Martha laid out everything. 43 documented incidents. Workplace calls. Fake social media accounts. Medical impersonation. Witness statements. The judge looked directly at my mother. Did you impersonate your daughter-in-law to access medical information? My mom hesitated. Yes or no, the judge said. Yes, she whispered. The order was granted on the spot. 300 feet. No contact. No third parties. 6 months. Renewable. Violation equals arrest. Naomi cried in the hallway. I felt nothing. At 28 weeks, my uncle called me. I heard your mom tell Naomi, if Evan won't come around, we'll find another way. Another way. That phrase haunted me. Because by then, I knew this wasn't going to end with paperwork. It was going to end with police. Lena went into labor at 2:18 a.m. on a cold Thursday in early April. By 3 o'clock, we were at the hospital. Before they wheeled her back, I pulled the charge nurse aside and showed her photos of my parents and Naomi. These people have active restraining orders, I said. They're not allowed near my wife or our children. She didn't hesitate. We'll flag the chart. Security will be notified. Room number will be private. Our son was born first. 6 pounds, 15 ounces. Loud. Furious. Perfect. Our daughter followed 7 minutes later. 6 pounds, 4 ounces. Tiny. Pink. Already gripping Lena's finger like she meant business. We named them Caleb and Sloan. Only 4 people were allowed to visit. Lena's parents, her sister, my uncle, and 1 close friend. That was it. According to the incident report we received later, my mother called the front desk 9 times trying to get our room number. Security escorted her out when she tried to slip past by claiming she was just visiting another patient. That was violation number 1. We stayed 2 nights. On the second night, I got a text from an unknown number. Congratulations on the babies. I can't wait to meet Sloan. Naomi. Screenshot. Sent to Martha. Violation 2, she replied. Do not respond. When we got home, we installed security cameras the same day. Front door. Back door. Parking area. Cloud storage. It took 48 hours. At 8:07 a.m., the doorbell rang. Camera feed. My mother and Naomi standing on the porch. Naomi was holding a diaper bag. I didn't open the door. My mom knocked. Evan, we know you're home. I texted Martha. They're here. Her reply came instantly. Do not engage. Let them leave. If they try to enter, call 911. They stood there for 4 minutes. Naomi stared at the door like she expected it to open on its own. Finally, my mom said, You're making a mistake. Then they left. Violation 3. 3 days later, 9:02 p.m. Naomi alone this time. She rang the bell, knocked, then started calling through the mail slot. Just let me see her. Just Sloan. 1 minute. That's when I called 911. By the time the officers arrived, Naomi was pacing in the driveway. She's violating a restraining order, I said. She's trying to access my children. The officers checked the order on their system. Ma'am, one said, you need to leave immediately. I'm her aunt, Naomi replied. You are violating a court order, he said. Leave now or you will be arrested. She left, but she didn't stop. That night, she posted publicly on Facebook. Missing my sweet Sloan so much. Can't wait until her daddy stops being stubborn. Tagged our city. Violation 4. 2 weeks later, CPS showed up. Someone had reported that our babies were crying for hours and being neglected. I showed the officers the nursery, the pediatrician records, the restraining order, the timeline. One officer shook his head. This is extreme. It's family, I said. They cleared us and documented the false report. Martha filed for contempt that week. Then came the parking lot. Caleb was already strapped into his car seat. I had Sloan on my shoulder when a car pulled in too fast behind us. Naomi got out. She looked awful. Unwashed hair. Hollow cheeks. Eyes locked on my daughter. "Hi, baby girl," she said. "It's okay. Auntie's here." "Get back in your car," I said. "She's mine," Naomi whispered. I felt my blood turn to ice. She stepped closer. I pulled my phone out. She lunged. Her hand grabbed Sloane's jacket. That was the moment everything broke. I twisted my body, pressing Sloane tight against my chest as Naomi's fingers clenched the fabric of her jacket. Sloane screamed. Caleb started crying in the car seat. Naomi stumbled forward, caught herself on my car door, then reached again. "She's mine," she said, voice flat, empty. "Mom promised me." I hit 911. "She was supposed to be mine," Naomi kept repeating. "You always get everything." Sirens were already close. A neighbor had come outside. Naomi didn't seem to notice any of it. Her eyes never left Sloane. She stepped toward the back door of my car. I blocked her with my body. "No," I said. "Don't." Her voice went distant. "I just need her. I've prepared. The nursery is ready." The patrol cars screeched in, 2 of them, lights flashing. "That's her," I said, shaking. "Active restraining order. She just grabbed my infant." The officers moved fast. "Ma'am, step away from the vehicle." "These are my babies," Naomi said. He took them. She tried to move again. They grabbed her arms. She didn't fight. She went limp. "Let them cuff her." "Baby B was mine," she kept saying as they led her to the car. I stood there shaking, holding Sloane while Caleb cried behind me. The officer came back. "Your children okay?" "They're scared," I said. "But they're not hurt. We'll need a statement. CPS may follow up, standard procedure." "I understand." Naomi was charged that night with attempted child abduction, violation of a restraining order, and criminal harassment. The prosecutor didn't play around. They had months of evidence. Fake accounts, medical impersonation, workplace interference, court violations. Naomi's public defender tried to argue mental illness. The prosecutor countered with planning, organization, escalation. "This wasn't a moment of impulse," she said. "This was a sustained campaign." Naomi took a plea. 3 years in county jail. Mandatory psychiatric treatment. Eligible for parole after 18 months with compliance. My parents attended sentencing. They didn't look at me. After that, we got a separate restraining order against them too. They'd shown up twice more, once to beg us to drop charges, once demanding we bring the twins to visit Naomi in jail. Both visits caught on camera. The judge didn't hesitate. That should have been the end. It wasn't. 6 months later, we moved. Different city, different department, new house, no forwarding address. Caleb and Sloane turned one surrounded by people who weren't trying to steal them. For a while, life was quiet. Then I got the notification. Naomi was being released early, and she hadn't let go. Naomi was released after 26 months. Good behavior, mandatory treatment, strict conditions, still barred from contacting us. Victim services included her release address in the notice. Same town as my parents. I didn't feel panic. I felt tired. 2 weeks later, a letter arrived, forwarded through Martha because Naomi didn't have our address. One sentence. Familiar handwriting. "Sloane will always be mine." I burned it in the sink. We updated everything that same day. Daycare protocols. Passwords. Photos at the front desk. No pickups except me or Lena. No exceptions. Ever. Martha filed for an extension on the restraining order. "The letter alone is enough," she said. The judge agreed. 4 months after Naomi's release, there was a knock on our door. The camera showed my parents. They'd found us. I opened the door, but kept the chain on. "We want to see our grandchildren," my mom said. She looked smaller than I remembered. Older. "It's been years." "You violated restraining orders," I said. "You enabled Naomi until she tried to kidnap my child." "We made mistakes," she said. "Mistakes are accidents," I replied. "You made choices." My dad stepped forward. "You're being selfish." I laughed. Not kindly. "They're safe," I said. "That's what matters." They left when I threatened to call the police. Martha filed another motion that Monday. The order was extended 5 more years. That night, Lena leaned her head on my shoulder while the twins slept. "You okay?" she asked. "I'm done hoping they'll change," I said. And for the first time, that didn't hurt. Life settled into something almost normal after that. Not easy. Twins never make life easy, but quiet in a way I hadn't realized I'd been craving my whole life. No surprise phone calls. No guilt-laced messages. No wondering what boundary would be crossed next. Caleb learned to run before he learned to stop. Sloan learned how to scream laugh at full volume whenever the dog walked by. Ordinary chaos. The good kind. Every few months, Martha checked in. No violations. No contact. Naomi was technically complying. Therapy sessions, check-ins, staying within the limits of her release. Still, we didn't relax. You don't forget the way someone looks when they believe your child belongs to them. About a year after Naomi's release, I got another notification from Victim Services. Routine update. No violations reported. Case still active. I closed the email and sat there for a long time. Lena noticed. What is it? Nothing, I said. Just closure, I guess. She smiled softly. You already have that. And she was right. Closure didn't come from apologies or accountability. It came from distance. From choosing peace over hope. Then came the phone call from Uncle Frank. They've been asking about you again, he said. Your parents. Trying to figure out where you work now. I didn't say a word. Thank you, I said. They still don't get it, he added. They think if enough time passes, it all goes away. I looked out at the backyard where Caleb was trying, unsuccessfully, to kick a ball while Sloan bossed him around. It doesn't, I said. It just gets clearer. That night, Lena asked me something that surprised me. Do you ever miss them? She asked gently. I thought about it. The version of them I'd wanted. The parents I'd spent decades trying to earn. I missed the idea, I said. Not the reality. She nodded. That was answer enough. And then, just when I thought the story was finally fading into the background, something showed up that proved it wasn't over yet. Not a visit. Not a call. Just proof that some lines, once crossed, never really disappear. The proof came quietly. Not with sirens. Not with police reports. With a background check alert. Lena's hospital ran routine re-verifications every 2 years. One afternoon, her HR department emailed her asking to confirm whether she'd recently authorized a third-party inquiry into her employment history. She hadn't. The request came from a private investigator. Martha didn't even sound surprised when I called her. They hired someone, she said. Likely your parents. Possibly Naomi, indirectly. Is that a violation? I asked. Yes, she replied. Attempting to locate protected parties qualifies, especially after prior court findings. She filed the motion the same day. At the hearing, the judge didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. You have repeatedly demonstrated an inability to respect legal boundaries, he said to my parents over video. This court is extending the restraining order indefinitely, subject to future review only upon substantial evidence of rehabilitation. Indefinitely. That word felt like exhaling after holding my breath for years. We walked out of the courthouse and Lena squeezed my hand. It's finally done, she said. And this time, I believed it. That afternoon, we took Caleb and Sloan to the park. No cameras. No exits planned. Just swings and laughter and grass stains. Caleb insisted on pushing Sloan, even though she weighed more than he did. She shrieked every time she went too high. Parents we didn't know smiled at us. Nobody stared too long. Nobody knew our history. That night, after the twins were asleep, Lena asked me something I hadn't expected. Do you ever think about the kid you were? She said. I did. The kid who learned early not to need too much. The teenager who thought independence meant being forgotten. The adult who kept hoping his parents would choose him just once. I think he'd be proud, I said. Not because I cut them off, but because I chose my kids without hesitation. Family isn't blood. It's behavior. It's who protects you when it matters. Naomi lost everything trying to take what wasn't hers. My parents lost us because they refused to see reality. And I gained something better than approval. Peace. Safety. A family that was never up for negotiation. Caleb rolled over in his sleep, mumbled something unintelligible. Sloan kicked her blanket off for the 5th time that night. I stood up, fixed it, and thought, this is enough. This is everything. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like the spare kid anymore.